And then at this point, he would charge it with a projectile, depending on what he wanted to hunt. If he was going big game hunting or going after people or something like that, he might want a single large musket ball. If he was going waterfowl or small game hunting, he could put shot in there, and then use the other end of a little less. So once you put your projectile down, then he's putting down what's known as wadding, and that basically holds everything in place. So he rams that down with the ramrod.
What is the wadding made of?
This right here is just oakum. They would have been using any kind of fiber, paper. And he's loading his pan right there, and then he'll shut the frizzen, and he's at half cock right there. Now that's the safe position. He's not going to pull the trigger on it right now because it is a loaded weapon, but if everything is working mechanically, he could pull on that trigger and the gun should not go off. Now you've probably heard the expression going off half cock. That comes from this firearms technology, and you don't want the weapon to go off half cock because then it could be pointed in a dangerous direction. So this is the way he would carry the weapon all day if he wasn't going to shoot it. And then when he gets ready to shoot it, if you want to go over there and point it, when he pulls it to full cock, then he'll fire the weapon. And you can see that it goes off quite quickly, quite efficiently. And you know, these weapons are very serious weapons. To give you an idea of the power of this, that bullet, when it strikes the target, hits with the same energy of two .44 Magnum bullets hitting at the same exact moment. So that's the power of two .44 Magnums. So they have the power. What they lack today, in comparison to modern weapons, is they're much slower to load and they have a much shorter range. But when you use them within the parameters of their strengths, those are very deadly serious tools. Now that's the typical way a civilian would load. Wade is going to demonstrate a technique that was developed in the early 17th century by the European military. Ahead of me, but that's okay. He's loading his pan right there, using the powder in here. Now if this was a live cartridge, there'd be a projectile in here also. So it covers your priming, your main charge, your projectile, and your wadding all in one shot. So now he's priming first because he needs to use that powder before he puts it down the bore, and then he's going to bring the musket about, and he's going to pour the rest of the powder, and if this was a live cartridge, the ball down the bore. And then once again, he's also going to push it all down with the ramrod.
The remaining paper acts as wadding.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's very, very efficient. And now he's ready to go. And so he will go out now and fire a shot off. No, that wasn't a misfire. It went off. That was a hang fire. It was very slow. And if you have a high quality weapon, it's going to go off much quicker. These are not really great quality reproductions right here. But to give you an idea of the efficiency of the cartridge over loading by the horn, you can get about 3 shots a minute of accurate aim fire. Loading with cartridge, a proficient soldier could load 6 times a minute.
What Wade is going to do, he's the gun commander, and he's going to give the command to man the piece, at which point the 3 men are going to go into position.
Man the piece.
Now at this point, he's going to give the command to search the piece, and what he's doing there is he wants to make sure that the weapon is in a safe condition to be fired. So the first thing that's going to happen is Josh is going to take a vent pick, check that out, make sure the vent is nice and clear.
Clear.
Then Craig is going to take a large corkscrew looking device that's called a worm, and he's actually going to physically check the bore. Then the gun commander is going to give the advanced sponge command. Then he's going to have him tend the vent. Josh is going to tend the vent. He's going to physically cover it with his thumb. At which point the weapon is going to be sponged. And it's like taking a large wet Q-tip and putting it down the bore. And that's going to extinguish any sparks. And that's actually much more important after the weapon's been fired. So now the weapon is clean and ready to be loaded. So he's going to give the command to handle cartridge.
Handle cartridge.
At which point Craig is going to go over here and grab a preloaded cartridge. And they would have had preloaded cartridges back then, just like we have today.
Load cartridge.
So now the cartridge is being loaded, and just the same as with the musket, it has to be rammed down, so he's going to give the command to ram cartridge.
Ram cartridge.
Now making sure that the cartridge is very tightly up against the base of the chamber, the next command is going to be to prime.
Prime.
At which point Josh, once again, he's going to break the seal on the cartridge with the vent pick. And then he's going to take one of those military cartridges that we saw before, and he's going to physically pour powder into the vent hole.
Approximately what weight of projectile?
Rip it off and use your teeth.
Approximately what weight of projectile was used in those?
About a ½ pound.
That's what I figured.
Yeah. This was, the bore on this is about a 1.5 inch bore. Okay, so now the weapon is loaded and ready to go. So the gun commander is going to give the command to make ready. When he says make ready, that's when you're going to want to cover your ears. This is much, much louder than those small arms were. And then the final command he's going to give is fire, and he's going to fire the piece off. Now at this point the weapon is just discharged. Everyone's run away, hopefully. Problem solved. Now he has to make sure that the weapon is clean and secure. So he's going to search the piece, and Josh is once again checking that vent.
Clear.
Once the vent is clear, Craig is going to check with the worm. He's going to search to make sure there's no bits of cartridge left in the bore. And then at this point, he's going to advance the sponge once again. The vent is going to be covered by Josh's thumb to prevent any oxygen from getting in there, which of course would feed the flame. And then once again, the bore is going to be swabbed.